If you are coming to Southern Utah at some point to specifically ride motorcycles and you're in the Zion Bryce National Park area, you gotta hit this trail. I'll give a little information on it in this video. All right, enjoy the ride. If you guys are liking the video so far, please subscribe to the channel. All right, guys, well, we're going to take a short little break from the ride just for a second for any of you who are wanting information on the trail that Hunter and I are riding. But don't you worry, we're getting right back into some riding footage, you junkies. Hooked it straight into my veins. This is called Casto Canyon. It's closest to Bryce National Park. Do a little bit of research, you'll find everything that you need to know, but just wanted to explain a few things about it. Well, it was getting windy out there, so we moved here into the mountain home. Casto Canyon basics. It's 11 miles round trip, so it's pretty short, but holy cow, does it pack a punch. So this thing has perfect combination of ultra beauty factor. I mean, it literally looks like you are riding your dirt bike through Bryce National Park. Orange hoodoos, these really cool trees that just seemingly grow out of rock, and you can't help but be amazed by this area. Not only does it have the beauty, it has the ultra fun factor. This place is wicked flowy, so a lot of little berms, rollers that you can kind of groove out, little jumps, and you want to get your smiles in for the day? Ride this trail. So if you're commuting between Zion and Bryce National Park, you gotta hit it. Who is this trail appropriate for? If you're on a traditional dirt bike, I would say you could bring pretty much like a beginner who's ridden maybe a couple times. You could totally do it. If you're on an adventure bike, depends on the size of adventure bike that you're on. Me and my buddy were on I was on a Husky 701. Hunter is on the Suzuki DR650, both amazing bikes. If you're on that sort of bike, I would say you want to be upper level beginner just because they're heavier, and it's not like there's anything crazy along this trail. The hardest stuff is really just this chundry, not quite baby-sized heads, a little bit smaller than that, but it can be a little bit loose. Okay, if you are riding fully loaded, that might change things a little bit. I would say you'd probably want to be a solid intermediate rider or above. And if you're on like a huge bike, like a GS 1200, and you're using like hard boxes on your bike, you better be an advanced rider, because that sort of bike with that sort of weight, and especially if you're using hard boxes, you really don't want to be crashing with that. You got to be aware that this is very much a shared use trail, and it does get use. There is a local horseback riding tour operator. That's the biggest thing that you really have to be concerned for. Keep your revs low when you're around the horses. Fortunately, the day that Hunter and I went to Casto Canyon, we noticed that there were 0 cars in the parking lot, so we turned it on a little bit extra than normal, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah, if there's more people in there, probably shouldn't be shredding it up, but we had the place to ourselves all day, and ooh, we got rippity-doo-dah, we got a groove on.
That's just slammed and rolled.
Like crash 15 of the day. Okay, so if the 11 miles isn't feeling like quite enough for you guys, I'll let you do your own research, but if you continue into the mountains from there, awesome, awesome riding. And in fact, Hunter and I, that was actually our goal. It wasn't really Casto Canyon. Both of us are professional landscape photographers. We both guide and teach nature photography. So Hunter is the guy for Capitol Reef National Park. I'm the guy for Zion National Park, and we both operate in Bryce National Park. So there's really cool landscapes up in the mountains, and it's so remote that they just get so few visitors. It's an awesome area to explore. If you're an advanced ADV rider and you're loaded up and you're looking for an adventure, really well worth checking that stuff out. Go camp out there. Well, as always, put off eating lunch as long as possible due to having way too much fun. But it is time to re-energize. So we took a little stop here in this forest section, and I love the contrast of getting out of this very intense experience on a bike and then being out in the wilderness and slowing down and the contrast of experience. I love that so much. So here you can see my canned fish, filet herring, definitely the way to go. Instant energy. We stopped, took a look at the map just to see where we wanted to go to explore for future landscape photography options. This is the best way to clean out any canned fish, by the way. Do it just like the wilderness does. Just beat it up with sand and crush that sucker up. But time to get back on the bikes, guys. Oh, we ended in a really beautiful little forest section at the end of the ride and came upon this awesome little river scene with these cliff features and these aspens in front. So this could be a beautiful spot for some landscape photography. Definitely not good conditions with this sort of light. And ideally, we would come back here in the fall time to photograph those aspen trees, which should be prime color around first week of October. So this is a spot we might end up coming back to, but we were tired. It was time to get home. We jumped on the pavement, stopped at this little Utah diner. If you end up riding in this area, stop here. The fried chicken sandwich was awesome. And headed back to the trailhead and finished the day. What a great ride. Thanks for following along, guys. If you enjoyed it, I'd appreciate if you would subscribe and hope to see you on the next adventure.